exploded.
Hello and welcome to the Roker Report Lasses podcast in association with Sunderland Community Soup Kitchen and of course HerGameToo, the campaign against sexism and misogyny in the beautiful game of football. And I am here to pick over England's glorious 4-0 win in the Euros semi-final against Sweden, which happened on Tuesday night by Ant Waterson. How are you this morning, Ant? Are you as hungover as me? Or
No, I'm not. No, I was going to say we're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but I'd be lying, wouldn't I? But I'm not as hungover. No, I'm all right.
At least one of us is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I've got like a pot of coffee in front of me, literally a pot of coffee, and I'm halfway down my first cup, so I'm just dragging myself out of bed to record this.
But under euphoria, aren't we, Rich? That's what we are.
I am.
Rich is just drunk.
I'm just struggling. But it absolutely amazing to be able to talk about winning 4-0 in the semi-finals of the Euros. I mean, not many people saw it coming apart from Farrell Williams, obviously, on the BBC, who predicted 4-0 before the kickoff. What are your thoughts overall about last night? For me, it was just it was like some sort of dream.
Yeah, I mean, shout out as well to Chris Cam, one of our writers who said 4-0 as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, you're not expecting that, especially after the first 5 minutes when Sweden probably should have been at least 1 or 2-0 up.
Yeah.
Mary Earps has kept us in it really. But once we scored, once we got the first goal, once Mido had scored, again, an absolutely fantastic goal. I'm sure we'll get into it. But once that goal had gone and settled everyone's nerves, got into half-time, I'm sure Serena Wiegman would have given a little bit of a rollicking, to be honest, because it probably wasn't great the first half. But then the second half, straight away, they go out there with, a little bit more oomph, a little bit more, the pressing was a lot more, I forgot my words. It was a lot more there to see, and then we score quite quickly in the second half. With Lucy Bruns, fantastic. And from then on, I think Sweden did a Norway where they just didn't know what to do, and we picked them off, didn't we? Alessia Russo scored the goal of the tournament, probably the goal of the season, and and then finished off with Frank Kirby, who, was more deserving of a goal than anyone else on the pitch. Thought she was outstanding. But it's just amazing, Rich, that this team just keeps on producing, doesn't it? We saw them against Spain where, they struggled for, 60-odd minutes until the subs were made. But yesterday, even after the first 10 minutes, they didn't let the game plan go out the window or anything like that. It was just kept on going, and, eventually, we've won 4-0 in the semi-final against one of the best teams in the world, mate. It just keeps on getting better and better and better, and there's one more game to go.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, what my thoughts were during the game was, this was one of the best teams in the world that we were playing against, but we're now seeming to take European women's football to a whole different level of performance. The way that we move the ball around the pitch, the crispness of the passing, the interplay, the different options we've got all the time. There's 2-3 runners when we're really in our flow, and we're relentless. We recycle the ball. We scored goals last night, often from recycling the ball, from trying one thing and then trying another. Balls coming in from one side and then coming and scoring from the other side of the pitch. There was we were opening up a lot of space against a team that often teams struggle to break down. I mean, Sweden are, as people say, the second-ranked team in the world, or they were before last night. And the quality of our play is something that, I mean, I've not seen in women's football, in international football, other than the United States. Do you think we're getting up to that level now?
We're certainly improving, massively. We're becoming one of, one of the big nations, I think, and you go back and we haven't won that many tournaments. Yeah, we won the She Believes Cup a few years ago, and it, to be fair, it looked as if I was going to turn a corner there, but what happened to Phil Neville? We're not going to dwell on the negatives or anything like that. I mean, but what they've got, and this is what should be happening from, you look at the WSL and the amount of players that are coming through the youth ranks who are now, there to represent England. This should happen. They should be put on a pedestal. They should be, congratulated and everything. And yeah, we should start mentioning England in the same breath as the USA, in the same breath as we've already knocked the Spanish out, we've knocked the Swedish out. The Germans and the French. They're whoever wins that game tonight. They're up against a huge nation. There's going to be what is Wembley sold out? So it's what 80,000 fans totally behind England. It's going to be. I would put England as favourites no matter who we play. On Sunday, I think it's there for us to win now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can credit the clubs in England for the amount of investment, particularly the kind of the big four in women's football have done an amazing job in preparing these players to the point that they are hyper fit and conditioned. I mean, we still are yet to pick up a significant injury. Hopefully everyone's kind of recovering from last night. And I think all of that in the background lays the foundations. But I just want a word really about Sarina Wiegman. She has done something with this group to turn them from a group of talented individuals into a team. And I wanted your thoughts on kind of her impact, because we forget she's not been in the job a year and she hasn't lost a game.
September. Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Any walk of life, let alone in any realm of football, that kind of success, immediate impact would be, unprecedented. What do you think of Sarina?
You know what I think is happening, because we see it with both of the men's and the women's game, especially with the England side, that the kind of play under what the FA wants them to. Mm-hmm. You look at the men's side. Gareth Southgate plays quite a defensive, possession based football, which it looks nice on the outside, coach's dream, blah blah blah. But what I think Wiegman's done is come in and said, no, we're going to play my way. Because it's pretty much the same as what you did with the Dutch. Mm-hmm. It's this pressing football. It's playing players in the correct position. Which I know that's a simple thing, but you look at Mido at the minute, and Mido's playing pretty much the same position she plays for Arsenal, and she's absolutely bossing it. She's brought in the likes of Kira Walsh, who for me has been our player of the tournament, and she's been so underrated. The amount of the passing range that girl's got is unbelievable. And you look what she's done with the young lasses, Ella Toon and Alessia Russo. Everyone's clamoring to see them start, but she said no, they're going to be our finishers. It reminds us a lot of like a really, really good rugby union side, where you've got your nucleus of players, you've got your big hitters on to begin with. When and if it doesn't work, or when you want to change it up, you've got what you call the finishers. And Alessia Russo's been, she's proven that. But to be honest, Sarina Wiegman needs the keys to the safe. To be honest, she needs the keys to everything. She's just brought in this euphoria and a breath of fresh air to this side. It's got the nation believing, and more importantly, it's got the girls believing that they can step to that next level. They can win tournaments. We've been to semi-finals before. They've broke that hoodoo now. They've got this final coming up, and I just fully expect them to go on and win it now. I just think the country now is on so much of a buzz through it. I think that's what will get them over the line. But she's absolutely fantastic. You've got to put her in the same breath as the coaches of the past. You look at Emma Hayes as well, who I think's a fantastic coach. You put them in the same breath that they've kind of revolutionised the women's game. Mm-hmm. It's amazing, Rich. It really is.
It is, and it's the quality of the football I'll come back to again, because I've heard from various people over the past couple of years, women's football's slow. They might be good on the ball, but there's just no pace. It's ponderous football. There's too much space on the pitch. All that's been demonstrated last night is that when you've got a brilliant team that's on form, they're irresistible often, and it did remind me of some of the best teams in the Men's Premier League as well, in some of the ways that they play. I would kick back against something you said in that I don't think all of the players necessarily are playing in what you might say is their natural position. I think you've got Rachel Daly, who's a forward playing it full back, and you know, she came back and did a fantastic job last night. And I think, you know, you look at Lee Williamson, who often is playing in midfield for Arsenal, is playing at the back and doing an amazing job. But I do get what you mean, that everyone's a natural fit in their positions in that system, and that's what matters. It's not the individual players being in their natural position. It's having the right players in the right parts of the pitch for the overall balance of the team. And that's when you've got Lucy Bronze on one side, you need somebody on the other side to create that balance, like Rachel Daly. And we saw that Rachel was instrumental in the first goal that eventually found its way to Lucy Bronze, who pinged it back in for Meadow to that finish as well. I mean, if that was the only goal in the game, we'd be raving about how wonderful Beth Mead's touch, swivel, and finish were. But it's almost been forgotten in what happened after. It was a glorious evening, and I just think that I hope, but I now think there's like anecdotal evidence that it's going to have that impact where the game is taken really seriously by football people, because that's been my, not gripe, but kind of background whinge for a while, is that, you know, real hardcore football people who would, you know, watch any game that was on TV won't watch a women's game because of the gender of the players on the pitch. And I think that's changed in the last couple of weeks.
I think Gavin put that in our group chat, hadn't he, that he was playing pool in like a workman's club, and when Russo's goal went in, the club stopped and, you know, stood up and applauded and everything like that. I mean, that's probably not been seen before. You are starting to see a little bit of a turn, Rich. I'll admit that, and that's what it needs, to be honest. You know, we need to stop comparing it. It needs to just
be its own thing.
You know, put that on a shelf. It's the only sport where you do see where, like, it's nothing compared to the men's. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. Your national team is in a final of a major tournament. You know, it just doesn't. For me, it just doesn't compute why that is a thing. But you know, I've got something to say about that later on. I'm sure we'll come back with. But it is just so refreshing to see that. You know, when Gavin put that in our group chat, I was like, I've never known that before. You know, and I've watched the game now for, you know, around about 8 to 10 years now. You know, I wouldn't claim I'm an expert, and I like what, you know, the likes of Katie and Charlotte are, but you know, when you're seeing that, and we're seeing that at a club level as well, where, you know, at Sunderland we're starting to get a newer fan base in. You know, like what happened on the beach the other night. You know, tremendous idea, and these things, and this tournament, that's what it needs to. We need to kick on from it. We need to, like what the Liam Wright said it yesterday, like what the Olympics. You know, we need to, you know, continue this forward momentum on it, Rich. You know, 100%. After
the tournament, I'm sure we'll do a bit of a special on legacy and on how our club can build on it. But I wrote something in the wake of the game last night because I was a bit emotional and a little bit drunk. About how we, you know, because I'd listened to what Ian Wright said, and I thought, how does this apply to a club like Sunderland that has had such an impact on this team? You know, the first 2 goals were scored and assisted by lasses who come through our system. We've got a responsibility as a football club, I think, now to push on. And, you know, if you're listening to this, you're interested, and you're probably a Lasses fan anyway. If you're not, welcome. And if you are, I think it's up to all of us who really do care and have been there and get it to actually, we've been a bit cautious and a bit coy and a bit kind of reticent, but I think we've got to, kind of be more confident in bringing other people with us, in talking about it, in using the M in men's football. I'm going to say it out loud. If you got to differentiate between what you're talking about, because this is football. It's men's football, women's football, it's all football. And if you're talking about Sunderland, you're either talking about the lads or the lasses, or both, and because they both sit under the same umbrella within the club. I think the club needs to start thinking about it like that. The fan base increasingly needs to think about that, and that goes to fan groups and everything. Women's football shouldn't be one item on the agenda. It should be part of every agenda at the club, every bit of promotion. And like I say, we will come back to it, but I think we need to use this platform, and who knows what little tricks the club might have up its sleeve in the next few weeks. Hopefully they've been thinking about this pretty hard during this tournament, as of some of the other clubs. I'll leave it with this. Portsmouth, who are a Tier 3 club, had nearly 3,000 people in Fratton Park for a friendly the other night. Not a men's friendly, a women's friendly. If there was 3,000 people at Fratton Park for a pre-season friendly in men's football, it would be pretty remarkable. But there was 3,000 people there for a women's friendly, which they won against WSL side Reading, which is great in itself to show that gap between Tier 3 sides and the top flight might be narrowing as more players come into the game, as more fans come into the game, as more clubs take the game more seriously. So there's my little soapbox moment.
No, yeah, you're right. And it's even going back, Rich, to as much as we don't like talk about Newcastle and like that, but they sold 22,000 tickets for a women's football.
In Tier 4.
And it's that's unbelievable. The country is catching up. There's 50 years to catch up on, because we weren't allowed to play the game for 50 years, but it is getting there. You've seen that with Portsmouth. That is unbelievable. But there's a time where your derby on tomorrow night at the Academy of Light for the ladies and for the women, sorry. And for me, that's just such a shame, going off the back of, especially now this semi-final, that not many people are allowed to go and watch it. And I think that's just such a shame. But obviously, we've had to explain that, Hetton isn't free, and obviously the Stadium Live wanted the concerts and that.
I want to come in just on that. If the club was creative, if both clubs were creative, right? Maybe St James's Park, Stadium of Light, even Eppletown need the pitches. The pitches are being relayed. They're preparing for the new season. Hire the International Stadium in Gateshead.
Yeah.
Hire Hebburn hire South Shields for the evening. Make it a big Euros celebration, not a Newcastle thing, a Sunderland thing, a North East football thing, and celebrate the fact that this tournament, both England and Northern Ireland, have had players from this region or who've worked and lived and worked in this region for many years.
Yeah, you probably think this is probably the biggest area for the talent. There's been 6 players, who've obviously, Sarah Mac's still playing for Durham now, but Sunderland have had 5 players representing at this tournament.
I just think the clubs, not just Sunderland, Middlesbrough neglect their women's team. They've got such a legacy in women's football going back to the 70s. They neglect their team. It's run by volunteers. Steve Gibson gets a lot of credit for being this great chairman, but he runs half a football club, as I see it. He's running half a club, whereas a couple basically run Middlesbrough Women's Football Club in Tier 3.
I'm sure Graham's got a little bit more of an idea than what I've got, but it's such a shame. But
this has got to be a kick up the arse for a lot of clubs. From those with big, long, well-established histories like our own, for clubs like Newcastle that are just seeming to get it, whether, for whatever reason they're seeming to get it, they're putting some resources behind it. Clubs like Middlesbrough, who just don't do out, and Hull, and loads of teams in our vicinity. Leeds United have neglected their team since the early 2010s, when they were right up with us as right the top of the second tier. The clubs in this part of the world have got to step up, and there's grassroots clubs that do an amazing job as well. And we shouldn't forget the kind of the Chesley Streets and the Norton and Stockton side, and York, who've just come into Tier 4 as well. Yeah. You know, there's lots and lots of teams in and around kind of north of the Northumbria in England, who've been at the heart of this. You know, your Annex and people like that who've brought Lucy Bronson and Lucy Stan through. It's really important that every football club sees that women aren't just a part of the fan base, but a part of the playing future of them, and that we get enough coaches and enough referees and enough resources put in so that we can truly have a game that is for absolutely everyone in this country, not just, you know, blokes, basically, and boys. And what Ian Wright said, and I just want to leave this here before we go to talk about the final. But what Ian Wright said was absolutely right. There should be no more boys play football, girls play netball in schools, or girls play hockey, and while the boys do football. This is our national sport, and that was the thing I wrote last night that I really wanted to get over was. Last night, the sport actually became, I think, our national sport for everyone, not just half of the people in the country.
Totally agree.
And yeah, so that's another soapbox element. I want to move on because we haven't got much time. And
just very, very quickly on just because I have got a little bit to say about this. Because I know we've gone off piece badly here.
That's all right.
But you know, I've put this on my Facebook last night, and we've had a few players' interviews with Charlotte, and I can't remember how many, but I'm sure it's in double figures now of how many Charlotte's done. But you go back to like our experienced players, and you look at like Kira, who's our captain, you know, Megan B, who's been there for years, and then both of them put on, I wasn't allowed to play at school.
Yeah.
And that is heartbreaking. You know, for those girls who have come on and they are professional footballers now is amazing. But you look at what Sunderland have produced in the past. You know, we've got the Beth Mead now, who's now one of the best players in the world. You know, Lucy Bronze, who's just signed for Barcelona. Demi, who's been absolutely amazing for England. Jill Scott, unbelievable players, unbelievable talent have started at Sunderland, right? We've got now Niamh Herron, who's going to play for England. You know, she's representing the under-19s level. That girl will play for England. Categorically, you know, put your stamp on it now. Grace Eade, Libby McInnes, you know, they're both playing under 18s, under 17s. Grace Eade especially will play for England. So why are you still seeing these things now where 11, 12-year-old girls are not allowed to play football at school? It's wrong, and it shouldn't be allowed. We need to stop it. Like what Ian Wright said last night, it needs to be stopped. And you know, you saw that girl last night when Sweet Caroline come on, you know, singing her heart out. What's she going to be doing this morning, mate? She's going to go out, get a football, and want to kick it about because she wants to be Beth Mead. She wants to be Alessia Russo. You know, let them do what they want, and we're not in. You know, and that is my last thing on that, mate.
I'll put one little extra thing on that, which is kind of the flip side of it, which is if like me, you've got a young lad in your life. You know, you're an uncle or a father or a mother or a sister or a brother to a youngster, a young boy, making them really understand that this game is for the girls in their class, the girls in their life, their sisters, their cousins. That's really important. My lad rang me up at full time because he's actually up in Sunderland he's been doing a course at the Beacon, which has had a whole thing for girls exclusively yesterday as well, running alongside their regular summer program that my lad's on with his cousin. And you know, we're really lucky in the northeast that we've got something like the Beacon that's doing this, that's got, you know, a picture of Steph Houghton and Jordan Henderson on the wall. Our club is great in many ways and is way ahead of the other larger sides or larger football clubs in the region, or even some of them the whole of the north of England. But there's still more we can do. And we've got that legacy, and I think we're going to build on that legacy. I want to come to your thoughts on the other semi-final before we turn to Millie and Chloe and Brett's audio diary from the game at Milton Keynes between Germany and France on Wednesday evening, which will decide who we face on Sunday at 5 o'clock at Wembley. Do either of these sides, given what England have done to other really big teams in this tournament, scoring 12 goals without conceding against two of the tournament favourites, for example, what do you think about Germany and France and what they've got to offer?
I would love it to go in extra time. Let's get into penalties.
Couple of red cards and some.
A couple of red cards. A little calf strain now. Now, in all seriousness, whoever wins that game's got to be respected. They're going to be Euro finalists. France have been excellent in the tournament. They knocked Netherlands out, who I thought Netherlands would go all the way, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Germany have been. Germany haven't they? They've been efficient. They've been, excellent, actually, and they are probably, I would say, in the last, even though England are into the final, have won 4-0 against Sweden, I would still say Germany the favourites for the tournament. So, I would probably just fancy the Germans tonight. And I think that would just be such a great final. It doesn't matter who we play, to be honest, it'd be such a great final, but I just think with the euphoria that's going on at the minute, England have got enough to go over the line. But I'll tell you what, tonight's going to be a really, really good game.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched it before, get yourself and watch it tonight. And I'm glad that Brett and the two girls are going, and I know they'll enjoy it. So it'll be a fantastic game.
Yeah, it's going to be great, and I think we should hear from them now because they've been one of my highlights of the tournament here in
the highlight of the tournament. The highlight. Never mind us two.
They've been brilliant. So let's hear Brett, Chloe and Millie and their thoughts ahead and after the second semi-final.
Hello, it's Brett here, down here Milton Keynes, heading over to watch Germany versus France in the semi-finals. The winner gets to play England in the final of the European Championships. That's a sentence I've wanted to say for a very, very long time. Now, fresh off the back of those Lionesses winning last night, I'm actually with my two little cubs. Introduce yourselves, girls.
I'm Chloe. And I'm Millie.
So we've got Millie and Chloe back with me again. So, girls, we watched the game last night, didn't we? And you stayed up very, very late. Millie, how do you feel that England are through to the final?
Good.
Millie says good. Chloe, what are your thoughts on England reaching the final?
Exploded.
Chloe's head exploded. She literally did. The hands exploding there. It was a really, really good game, though. Girls, you find you're enjoying the football more and more because you watched the whole game last night. Normally, you sort of drift in and out. Millie, did you enjoy it?
Yes.
And then tonight, we've got France versus Germany. So, Millie, who are you going to be supporting?
France.
Millie's supporting France. Chloe, who are you going to go for then?
I'm going to support France because I don't want Germany to go against England.
Oh, so Chloe doesn't want Germany to go against England. So they're both supporting France tonight. We'll no doubt have a bit more of an in-depth conversation afterwards because just so you know, it's actually raining as we walk to the stadium. In previous games, it's been an absolute heat wave. And Chloe, what's it like at the moment?
It's not a heat wave.
It's not a heat wave anymore. We're walking to the ground here in Milton Keynes, looking forward to the semi-final, Germany versus France, to see who is going to play England in the final on Sunday. Hello, so it's Brett again. The time is actually 10:23. I'm with the little cubs, Millie and Chloe, who for 2 nights in a row now have been up after their bedtime. Girls, you both not knackered yet?
No.
No, it's still absolutely buzzing. So we've just seen Germany 2, France 1. So this Sunday, England versus Germany at Wembley. We've got our tickets. Girls, are you excited for the weekend?
Yes.
Once again, though, so this has been our 4th game here at Milton Keynes. And as I started the tournament, I said I've not been to a women's game yet. However, every single game has been absolutely brilliant. Really enjoyed it, really competitive games. The crowd have been up for it every time. Today in Milton Keynes, we had 27,000 people there. Now, compare that to a normal MK Dons game. They get about 8,000-ish, I think, per game. It was a really, really great to see. It does actually highlight, I'm sure you guys have probably mentioned this apart on the pod, that Sunderland have missed out by not having any games up there in the northeast. It's been fantastic seeing all the kids down here. Both the girls have absolutely loved going it. Girls, though, so today's game, did you win today's game? You were both supporting France. Millie, were you gutted that we're not going to see France on Sunday?
Yes.
Chloe, you said the same. Are you a bit gutted because you thought France weren't as good as Germany?
I want a French plat.
You want a French plat. So there we go. So Chloe wants a French plat. She's missed out. She's gutted by that. She's going to have to go for a Dutch one on Sunday now. But girls, though, let's have one final message. So we've got one more recording. We do this on Sunday. Before that, for our Lionesses, girls, what have you got to say?
Come on, England!
Come on, England. I'll be speaking to you on Sunday at Wembley.
Well, it was lovely to hear from Brett and the girls. And I know that they're going to be at Wembley on Sunday. I'm going to be at Wembley on Sunday. Lots of other Sunderland fans are going to be there. Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be there, are you, Ant?
No, I'm at work, I'm afraid. Work and affordability issues, I'm afraid, at the moment. But...
Yeah, the tickets were on sale a long time ago. And we took a punt that they would that we would go all the way. And it's happened, and it's a bit of a dream come true. And there'll be lots of Sunderland representation down there, lots of people coming down from the northeast, coming from all over England and all over the world for this game. And I just hope we can make it a celebration of football overall and England's contribution to the development of the whole game: men's football, women's football, youth football, disability football. This is where the game started. It's also where the game was banned for women, and it's also where the game was re-established too. And let's make it a festival of football. Let's have an amazing weekend where we put this fantastic team with Lucy Bronze, with Beth Mead, with Demi Stokes, and of course with Jill Scott there at the centre of everything we're talking about. So I'll give you a final word, and do you want to give a prediction? Well, we don't know who we're playing yet.
I think we'll win. I would like, and I know, Serena's played the same team, and I can't see a change in the boat. If I was to make one change, I would like to see Alessia Russo come in for Ellen White. I just think that Alessia's she scored 4 goals from the bench. She's second highest goal scorer, and I just think that she's warranted the chance to start now. And I know it would have to be a little bit of a tactical tweak or something like that, but listen, Ellen's been amazing for us, and she is coming towards the back stages of her career now. She's been amazing, but just in the last couple of games, I don't think her contribution has been telling, whereas everyone else, the likes of Frank Kirby, who's improved in every game, Mido, who's, she had a couple of quiet games, but you know what Mido can do, and I just think Alessia Russo has warranted that start. You normally get, the wonder kids who come out of tournaments and who people talk about, and Alessia Russo has put her name on that list, with that goal. I mean, we barely spoke about it, have we? The girl just, she misses a sitter, don't get us wrong, it's an absolute sit and she'll be gutted about that, but have the audacity to do that, and the quick thinking there, because obviously when I've played as a striker before, and I've missed sitters, and the last thing you think of is, the first thing, actually, so you put your hand on your head. She could have easily done that and just give the chance up, but she knew that chance was still alive. And then to have the audacity to do what she did and nutmeg the goalkeeper. It was just perfect, wasn't it?
She is. I personally don't think that Serena should or will change that starting 11. I think it works what she's doing, and I think Ellen White, having seen her at Old Trafford, having watched her game closely, there are things that she's doing when she is not on the ball that that just don't get picked up. The pressing, the harrying, the stretching teams to create. She might not even get the ball, but she's creating space for Kirby to drop into, for Beth Mead to drop into.
I don't think she will change it, but if there was one change, that's what I would do. I just she's not gonna. She's gone through now. What we're in now? It'll be our 7th game or something like that. One or sixth game, sorry. And she's picked the same team, so she's going to pick that side. But if there was one little tweak, I would make that.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't. It would be entirely warranted. You're completely right, because what I was going to say was, Alessia Russo is possibly the most natural centre forward I've seen anywhere for years. She is just like a revelation. You know, we've heard about seeing her in the WSL and seen what she's capable of, but Man United are not elite. And when you surround that girl with the best players available, she is absolutely unbelievable. And she has got that instinct for where the goal is, and she's brilliant. She's just absolutely brilliant. But like you say, maybe she's just a finisher at the minute. She's just that explosion that comes on. And if you're a German or a French defender and you get to 60 minutes and you've been harried and pressed and disturbed by Ellen White for an hour, and then you know that you've got Lisa Russo coming off the bench, you are not happy. And I think we will have too much. I think we will have too much quality, and we will have too much momentum, and we will bring too much noise on Sunday night for any team to cope with. And it could be cagey, it could be a 1-0, it could be an extra time, it could be whatever, but it also could be, and I don't think we can discount this now after we've done it to Sweden, it could be a procession. It could be. You know, that option is there, and I don't think it's illegitimate to talk about it. Anyway, we've run out of time, mate, so we might come back with another pod before the weekend. We'll see. We'll see who we can secure as a guest. And so I might speak to you again. If I don't, enjoy the football, everyone, on Sunday. Enjoy the celebration when we lift that trophy, and then make sure you get yourself down to Ebbleton and watch Sunderland women, because you know we've got the next generation of Lionesses right there. 100%. So thanks to everyone for listening, and I'll leave you with our theme song, which is Science by Big Fat Big, and speak to you all later. Ta-ra.